fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya, and well, a lot has happened for him. In the last part, Deku faced off against the entire Earth superheroes. And a lot of them were taken down by Midoriya. And a few of them were killed. Now, Midoriya, he took out threats that could actually hurt him. And he even did kill a few or a lot of street level heroes in the crossfire. Now, Midoriya, he murdered Nightcrawler, Kitty, and Colossus. Those are the only 3 mutants he killed. He has no problem with humans. Mutants, though, he's not after. They're his people. And the only other exception to the I will not kill list, other than mutants, is Jennifer Walters, the Hulk's cousin. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he did then recruit Laura and the Stepford to his side, as they were currently in the battle arena, and the Stepford are on their way. Now, we do then have Midoriya, who he does stand there with Rogue at his side. And you actually have Laura, who does come walking up on the other side of Midoriya and look down at the battle. She does see it all. The way the Avengers are fighting each other and trying to survive against the beast down below. It's all just, well, horrific. And then you do look around to see humanity cheering on the bloodshed, as Midoriya would just tell Laura to soak it all in. This is how they are. This is how humans really do act. And they're willing to even sacrifice each other, if it just means a few minutes of entertainment. Now, Laura, she does just ask Midoriya why they're doing this, to which he does explain. Charles tried to kill them, and he hit their targets wrong. The Illuminati were there in the room whenever he planned the bomb. So, he needs revenge, and they need to understand it all. They aren't going to be killed. However, if they do kill each other, that makes things better. It just means that they'll have to live with that guilt. And they already do have to live with the 5 million dead on Sakaar. Now, Laura's eyes do widen at that comment. The Illuminati killed 5 million people on another planet, and no one knew. Now, you do then have Midoriya, who does look up towards the sky, as he does have a weird feeling in his gut. And he does then ask the Hulk if he does feel that too. The Hulk, trying to look at him, kind of confused, as he does go to look up himself, as he does stare directly at the sun. Before the Sentry, he does come floating down, and he does see Hulk and Midoriya. Now, he would just ask the Hulk if he plans to give up, and to just turn himself in quietly. Now, the Hulk does just say "Hello, Robert," before he does say no. Now, the Sentry, he does have the same weird feeling that Midoriya does have. As Midoriya, he does go floating upwards and get directly in front of the Hulk. Robert, looking directly at Midoriya. As the two, they do share a look of confusion. Hmm? Who are you? Who are you? Midoriya would say, bring his hand up. Now, the moment this does happen, Robert does watch as Midoriya, he does hold up his hand, and red and black energy does pour from it, along with orange more towards his palm, where you'd have an Iron Man repulsor directly at. Now, Robert does just say that he's the Sentry, and he's Robert Reynolds. Now, he's here to shut this all down, and he's the only one who can take on the Hulk. I'm sorry. You must be confused. That's the green Sakar. Okay, and who might you be? Well, Golden Man. I've gone by many names, and I believe that my best one for this situation would have to be the Sun Eater. Now, Robert does just tell Midoriya to stand down. He does hold up his own hand, energy pouring from it. Now, you do have actually Rogue, who does immediately notice the similarities in their power. The two, they're both standing the same way, and they both have the same type of power. As you do have Midoriya, who does go rocketing forwards towards the Sentry, who he does just go to bring up his hand. Now, the two go flying straight through the arena, and the Avengers, they do watch that, as their contingency plan for the Hulk just left with another problem. Now, Midoriya and the Sentry, they do begin a battle, as they destroy the city within a matter of seconds, throwing each other around, and the sheer force of their punches. Now, the Sentry, in this timeline, he's only had one encounter with the Void, and it terrified him to his very core, since he didn't know what that power was. The only time that happened was whenever Midoriya was powerless and did not have access to his current set of abilities. Now, Midoriya, he does comment that Robert, he does seem familiar, as he does go to smash him across the face. Robert actually pointing out that the kid, he does remind him of himself, as he does go to smash Midoriya with his left hand and then go to deliver an uppercut, talking about how they do seem to be on par with one another. Now, Midoriya is sent rocketing up into the air, as the Sentry does go to fly up after him, and Midoriya, he does go to use his power, using psionics to try and fight Robert. Now, the moment this does happen, Robert does power back with his own abilities, and Midoriya, he's caught off guard by this, as you do have the Void in Midoriya's head, as Midoriya, he's currently being beaten through a desert. Now, Midoriya goes smashing through multiple rocks, and he does then go to get back up onto his feet, wiping away the blood from his mouth and putting his jaw back into place. The Void commenting that he can't believe they're finally encountering one another. Huh? What the hell are you talking about? Careful, kid, you seem winded. Now, Midoriya, he does notice this, looking down at his hands. What is this? He can't be fatigued. Shit. It's not possible. I've never been this tired before. Now, the Sentry does come in, and he does go to blast Midoriya with power. As Midoriya, he does bring up his own hand and blast the Sentry. Now, the two are on par with each other in this respect, and it does seem all odd. However, Robert, he does have more energy to spare, since he's not the one who's been battling all day long. And Midoriya, he does feel Robert gain the upper hand, as he does go to face the blast and still get hit by it. Now, Midoriya, he does feel immense pain. However, he's not physically injured, and then he does go rocking forwards towards Robert Reynolds. As he does go to turn his hand solid, Robert does go to catch it. And Midoriya, he does just stand there, as a shockwave does form and blow apart the area surrounding them. As he does just ask how it's possible he's this strong. As Robert does just tell him that it's easy. He's never had the power as he does bring back his hand, socking Midoriya clear across the face and sending him flying. Of 1,000,000 suns! Now, or 100,000,000 suns. Now, Robert, he does fight Midoriya. And the world does watch this battle as well, as you actually have Rogue and the Avengers, along with somewhere in an unknown location, where people are watching Powerhouse, the one person who's always seemed to be unstoppable, finally be stopped. As you do have Hulk, who he knows that Midoriya can handle this. If he can't handle the Golden Man, then he will. Now, he does just order the battle to continue down below, as you do actually have back over with Midoriya, who he does go to get back up, him bringing his hands up and spitting out a tooth, telling Robert that he's actually having a lot of fun with this. Robert walking forwards, and informing this boy in front of him that he doesn't understand it, does he? What do you mean? Constantly being scared of my own power, constantly holding back, just in case that one beast comes back, that one being that I despise the most. Now, Midoriya, with his hands up, he does feel Robert Reynolds' emotions. And he does just feel the void. Everything about this does not make sense. How is this guy going blow for blow with him? He's actually getting his ass handed to him here. Now, the Sentry, he would just inform Midoriya. As Midoriya, he does try to rush the Sentry in speed. The Sentry being able to take a blow from Midoriya and not even get injured. As a Sentry, he would just go bring his hand up and grab Midoriya by his hair, as he does go to smash his head onto Robert's knee. Now, Robert, he does just beat Midoriya into a bloody pulp, informing him about the way the world works, the way he works. He has been trying desperately to protect the world, but he's scared shitless of his power. And it even got worse whenever it showed up. The day he found out about it was the day he lost it. He never wanted to do this anymore. Now, Midoriya, he's being knocked around. Blood is flying all over the ground. And you do eventually have the point where Robert Reynolds, he's letting loose his anger. And he's using nothing more than pure strength to beat Midoriya across the face. As eventually he does just stop. And he does go to stand up, before looking down and seeing what he's done. Think for a minute that he lost it for a minute there. And he's happy the void didn't get released. Now, he does go to try and take flight and go away from Midoriya. However, you do have Midoriya who does just lay there for 1 minute. Robert. Now, he does turn his head and look down at the boy. As Midoriya, he does just tell him that he's not over. He's not done. Me and Void will take you down. Robert's eyes widening, as he does ask Midoriya, how does he know that name? Now, Robert does go back in front of Midoriya, before bending down and picking him up by his throat. Ask him, where the hell does he know that name from? Void. Yes, where do you know that from? What do you know that from? Now, Midoriya, he does try to look through his eyes. One of his eyes is completely destroyed and trying to regenerate. However, a piece of his skull is inside of it right at the moment. While the other one is so swollen and red he can barely see through it. The look on Robert's face is one of pure terror and fear, along with rage. Midoriya just saying that he is the Void. Now, Robert does just punch Midoriya once more, and he believes that he's killed the boy with that blow, as Midoriya's skull would cave in. Now, everyone is watching this around the world, and you do even cut to a particular place in Japan, where a woman, she watched this on TV, and she did turn away and begin to cry. Now, with that being said, he does go to rocket away, and he does need to go find the Hulk, along with inform Tony Stark about this boy. Now, they need to put him in prison 42, and make sure he never escapes. Now, with that being said, we do then have Midoriya, who is still alive, even though the top portion of his head is blown away and caved in. As you do actually have the Void, who he pulls Midoriya's consciousness into the dimension. As he does just float there for 1 minute, fully aware of everything. Where am I? Him turning around and seeing the Void in front of him. The giant beast that would appear the same way as in the picture. It screaming at Robert Reynolds and cursing his very name. As Midoriya, he does ask the Void, what is this place? Welcome home. Home? This can't be it. Please. This is my home. And well, you've met your better half. Better half? What the hell are you talking about? I am the darkest parts of you and Robert Reynolds. However, you're both the same. What? Yes. You and him are the same person. Split. I don't understand it myself. You and him shouldn't be this way. But here you are. And you're still a freak. Now, Midoriya would just shout at the Void that he doesn't control him. And the Void would just look down at Midoriya, before just saying that he's aware. Keep in mind that he is him as well. So, I'm just another voice in that man's head? Yes. However, so am I. And the voices get louder together. Now, Midoriya would just look at the Void, as he does feel like he knows what it's thinking. As Midoriya and the Void do talk. Meanwhile, you do have back in the real world where Laura and Rogue are both freaking out about Midoriya. As right now, the Illuminati, they've been able to escape from the Hulk. Stark overpowered the obedience disc and hacked through it. Now, he hacked through the obedience disc, not overpowered it. And right now, the Sentry is facing off against Hulk. Now, the two haven't gone to the World Breaker level yet, but they are getting close to it and slowly approaching that place. And you do have Midoriya, who, while his body is being transported, he does actually go to sit up. And he does freak out Shield, which did pick up his body. Now, the moment this did happen, Midoriya, he immediately surrounded himself with a black and red aura. And he then burst free with a loud explosion. This taking out everything around him within a 100-mile radius. Now, the world felt this shake, and it was intense, as we do actually have back over with the Stepford Cuckoos, who they are feeling an immense psychic power in the direction Midoriya was at. And Midoriya, he would come rocketing back in. Now, whenever this does happen, you do have Midoriya, who he does come back in and find what's happening, as the Hulk is taking on the Sentry. Midoriya, he knows he lost, but if anyone does stand a chance, it's the Green Sakaar, the one who will break the world. Now, Midoriya, he does just land with the Warbound, and they are confused, as Midoriya, he does look a bit different, and his power seems to have changed. Now, Midoriya, he would just look on, as you do actually have Rogue. She is waiting for anything to happen, and she's waiting for a sign the Hulk will give her to go in and take his power. A sign that she can absorb Sentry's power, and they can take the rest of the world. Now, the sign does not come, and this will be whenever the Sentry and the Hulk, do fight each other to a standstill, blow for blow. And the Sentry, he does transform back into a human, along with the Hulk. Now, the Warbound are surprised to see Bruce Banner, and so is Midoriya, as the Warbound and Meek, they all are enraged by it. They don't want this to end, and they want the Hulk back. Now, the same thing that happened in the comics would happen here. It is found out by Hulk that the Illuminati did not do this. They aren't the ones who placed the bomb. Charles placed something on the plane, yes, but it wasn't meant to blow up. Forge knew what it was, but he just tampered with it so it wouldn't do anything. He made sure it would not blow. But they tampered with it on Sakaar. They made it unstable. And it was worse. The core blew with it as well. Now, you do actually have Midoriya, who he does feel immense guilt. He murdered heroes, all because he thought they were standing in the way of what he thought was right. And you do have the Hulk, who does just stand there for 1 second, as he kills Meek for betraying his trust. And he does then turn into the World Breaker, as he shouts for anyone to stop him, anyone to try and stop him. Now, Robert Reynolds, he's out of power. And Midoriya, he just got revived by the Void. He does go to rush in. And you do actually have Rogue who does rush in as well. Her bringing her hands up and directly touching the Hulk, as she does try to absorb his power. Now, you do have Midoriya who does stand right in front of the Hulk. And he does turn to Rogue asking if she can handle it. Midoriya already watching her eyes swell up to the point of being a world breaker, as he does turn to the Hulk and directly grab onto him, as he does rocket up into the sky, trying to think about everything. He has to make everything right. Dear God, he murdered people for no reason. No, please. There has to be something. There has to be something. Now, Midoriya, he's trying to think. This is wrong. He has to. Boom. The Hulk explodes in the upper atmosphere. And Midoriya, he does crash land back downwards into the city. Now, Midoriya, he is trying to think, as the Hulk, he's currently flying through space. And Midoriya, he does just wonder, as he does lie there in a smoking crater, going to get back up, about what's going to happen next, as he does turn and see Rogue. She is currently trying to stay calm and release this power by blasting it up into the atmosphere. Now, you do actually have the superheroes, who do inform Midoriya to turn himself in. And Midoriya, he does just look defeated, as he does just tell them to help her, looking at Rogue, who is currently trying to stay calm. She can't keep this up for very much longer. She is going to detonate if she doesn't get help soon. Now, the heroes, they would do just that. Rogue gets help. And Midoriya, he's thrown into Prison 42, aka the Negative Zone. A place where no supervillain has ever been able to escape from. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.